gracious.
You want to?
Oh my God, dude. So I don't know why my laptop continuously disconnects from the internet.
Cool. We're having a good time over here.
Solid start.
It's a good time. It's a good time here, right? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Live on Two Wheels, your weekly motorcycle live show. Today with 3 people. Oh, it went off again. Oh, thank God we have multiple cameras.
That's true.
So we're gonna have to figure out that camera today. Welcome to the show. So guys, we got Joe Jackson here today. Woohoo, Joe!
All right.
Hello.
You do your little preamble. I'm gonna figure that out.
Cool, just don't stand in front of that thing. So guys, we have a fun episode today. We have Joe Jackson with us, professional motorsports photographer, who is not going to be in Georgia very much longer.
No, less than 24 hours.
So we're sliding in one live show with Joe. We had to do some other filming today with him, and I'm like, hey, you should be on Live on Two Wheels. Should be a good time. So we're going to have a good time doing that today once we figure out our wide camera, because apparently now it's just like shutting off. So to be clear, it didn't start doing this until moments ago. Joe's a third party. He saw it.
That's true. And proof this is live, unless this is actually all secretly orchestrated and this is for views.
Yes, we ruin the show every week just for views. Okay, so Beau, how are we looking over there? You still have a frown on your face. I'm just assuming it's still bad.
It's so hot.
It's always hot though.
Industry standard, if someone has a frown on their face, it is a bad thing.
Yes.
Not everyone knows that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Just clearing that up. I'm trying to think of any like workaround for it. I mean, obviously we can go like back and forth because we got Trey on camera swap. So if that's what we got, that's what we got. But we would like to show you guys this view.
Why is that all blurry?
I don't know. Ooh, don't do that. There you go. Here's a hand. Here's hands. Focus on hands in Joe's face. Okay.
Ideal.
All right. So guys, while we have this beautiful middle camera that we've worked so hard to set up, we'll get this show going. So like I said, this is Live on Two Wheels. This is episode 33.
It's the first time that I've seen my backdrop with my helmets.
Oh yeah. So we got updates to the set.
I'm more sad now that I don't have a plant over there.
Oh my God, you still want the plant? I would love to tell you guys about the show, but my Wi-Fi is very bad today.
Let's see. If I had known that, I'd have been.
Anyway, so it's back for a moment. We'll see how long it lasts. So yes, okay. While we have everything working, guys. Most of you guys know this is a live show. We do it every week, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's also available as a podcast over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And last week, we asked you guys to give us reviews on Apple Podcasts. We're going to give these things away. I'm going to read a review. Oh, do you know the button that is the dramatic, saddy music thing? That's
so sad.
Okay, pause that. Hold on, don't do that yet. All right, so...
So sad.
Oh, this is what I can't hear.
I know,
imagine someone's playing very sad music.
Okay.
I let the record show. I wanted to get headphones.
We now know that for guests, we need headphones. We will handle that.
How else would
Joe's
we
our first like
bombard them with
professional
farts?
guest. So like we're baby steps. Okay.
I have a good imagination. I can.
Yeah. I'll just voice what happens first.
Piano music is about to play.
Oh, please do.
Okay, so we told you guys we got these really cool decal sticker things made for Live on Two Wheels. We're not going to sell them. The only way you guys can get them is go to Apple Podcast and rate the podcast over there. So Joe has one on.
They're
his
great for clearancing.
Sponsored can. So that way we're trying to grow the podcast. Podcasting, that's the best way to do it, is get reviews. So I'm going to read one of the reviews here to sad music. Trey, play the track. The Moto Party Podcast. 5 stars, of course. There are many motorcycle podcasts, and many of them are okay to good. This one, though, it's less good and more Tony the Tiger. Chase, Beau, Ghost, and Trey, hope I'm spelling that right, do an excellent job putting motorcycle content right into... And that's where it cuts off.
You can stop that sad music now.
We don't know where we put the motorcycle content right to.
Remember that time when I grabbed a comment? And the whole comment was there?
Yeah.
Is nobody else capable of getting the whole comment?
Apparently not. Apparently you're the only one that has that ability.
I don't remember how I did it, but I got the whole fucking thing in there.
I would also like to say, as a currently fat man, the name of the person is formerly the Fat Man.
Nice.
So this is going to be
our name
so
is
this is
currently
you in the
the
future.
Fat Man.
Yeah, this is
a future review from
yes.
you.
I just went into the future and was like, formerly Fat Man, I'm going to give myself a good review. So guys, or not guys, formerly the Fat Man, I don't know how you can send us proof of who you are in this, but if you do that, we will send you a Live on Two Wheels sticker. Thank you so much for the review.
Tell us your secrets.
Also, yeah, how do you do that? Because I'm having a problem currently. Okay, so if you guys want a chance, if I read your review over on Apple Podcast on the show, we'll send you free stuff.
Sounds like
go get free stuff.
Figure out a way to make sure we know who they are.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna give away this stuff. I have no idea who you are.
Also, yeah. So email us.
Address. Yeah.
Oh yeah, email us Beau at chaseon2wheels.com.
I'm also a problem-solving consultant.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. We appreciate that. All right, guys. So that's the sticker stuff. All right, getting into the actual show. Before we start talking with Joe, we have an intro part of this thing to go through. So first up is our Discord. We do have a Discord. We'd love you guys to go check it out. We are going to be on the Discord later on in the show looking at funny memes and stuff. So I'm going to show you guys how to get to that if my Discord is working, because it was updating earlier. It is working. Sweet. We love that. All right, guys. So there's a link for the Discord in the description. So if you... What? What?
He went picture in picture, and it's just such a little.
Yeah. So, guys, this is the Chase on Two Wheels Discord, but we have a page here, Live on Two Wheels. You guys can check the Discord out. Go to Live on Two Wheels. There's the episode that we are currently on. Very good photo of you, Joe. Look at you riding that thing around.
Is that from the other day?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So,
I
guys,
have no glasses on. I can't see that from here.
Joe's blind. Also a photographer. It's really interesting.
Yes.
So, guys, where we're going to be looking at over on Discord later on the show is here. And I'll show you up here. You can go to Threads, Season 2, Episode 33. Click into that. Boom. Stop. Ran through with Suzuki already. So, guys, go post your memes over in this Season 2, Episode 33 section. We'll be looking at those last 5 minutes or so of the show. Alrighty. That's Discord. Also, speaking of Discord, we have our Moto Photo section. Do you know about this?
I don't, but we can do a live critique if you want.
We could do a live critique. So we have a section of our Discord. It's called Moto Photo. It is a place for us to post photos. A very poignant thing for today's episode.
It'd be weird if it was something else.
Yeah.
Is this like stickied in any of the threads in Discord?
No, it's its own channel.
Oh,
yes, we have
I can look at it on my phone, so I don't have to squint.
Bro, you could you could post all up in there. So, shout out of the week, Discord user ! Mark DeGrasse.
That's actually how it's pronounced.
You have to put the exclamation mark ahead of time.
Mark.
On a Duke 390 or a Duke 200, can't really tell what that is. And I can't scroll. I can't zoom in. No.
I also don't know how Discord works, so I'm trying to figure it out.
Bro, me too.
Fucking
You'd
old
think
man
I'd
over
know. This is the old man side. That's the young man side.
And I'm the oldest.
Yeah, I'm substantially younger, I think, than everyone here.
Yeah, so guys, go check out the Moto Photo section. Thank you, Mark DeGrasse. I'm going to keep saying it like that. Also, a little rant from Ghost. Okay, do we have any mad music?
No.
All right, so Ghost wants me to say, thanks to those who actually post their photos in the Moto Photo section and not just random memes and crap for Ghost to sift through every week.
We have rooms just for the...
Yeah, we have a literal shitpost room. True story. There's a room called shitpost.
I think it's changed because it was like, we didn't need it anymore because... Yeah. No, it's still there. It's still there.
We have a shitpost room if you guys want to
Shitpost lives.
Hashtag shitpost.
Hashtag shitpost.
You guys are teaching me everything about Discord right now.
That's why we had you on. We're not talking about photos. We're talking about the shit show that is the Discord.
This is the first server, right? This is the first server I've joined?
Right.
There we go.
Alrighty.
I just want to give a quick shout out since we're in the beginning of this.
Okay, yeah.
As Magpie Flies is in our chat.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. We met in
What up,
Sturgis.
girl?
We ate at a very average restaurant together.
Yeah,
with the
like Sturgis.
with
That
all the
sounds.
kids.
Were you in Sturgis?
I was in Sturgis,
Yeah.
It was the
All right.
best, worst restaurant.
That's hilarious. That we all have.
Also,
that
shout out
shared
to your brother.
experience.
Super nice dude.
Yeah. You guys are awesome.
All right, guys. Next up, we have the favorite time of the week, Ghost Tip of the Week, sponsored by, of course, our spectral producer, Ghost on Two Wheels over on Instagram.
Just the tip.
Ghost Tip of the Week. If you have a Halloween party, be sure to invite the ghosts. They'll bring all the booze.
Yeah! That's it.
We got air horns.
That's infuriating to look at. I can only imagine the air horns echoing in your eardrums at the moment.
That's awesome.
I love that so much. The booze. And it's ghosts, so it makes so much sense.
Oh, thanks for explaining the fucking joke. Oh my god, I can't.
You are welcome.
I can't.
All right, guys, let's do the quick shifter. Quick shifter segment, of course, is our segment where we quickly talk about news so that Chase doesn't ramble on forever. Joe, I'll angle this. Do we have audio? Trey, can you confirm that we have audio?
No audio.
No audio. Interesting.
I can make the noises if you want.
Meow.
Multi-output device?
Remember, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I tried the normal thing, and the normal thing's not working. Did you change anything on the board for audio?
Nothing has changed. The phone icon on the sliders there, Trey, is it at the midway? It should be. If you look at the icons at the top, one of them should be a phone.
Yes.
And that one's where it needs to be at the hash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows then?
But you heard him playing music earlier. That's a question for you.
Audio's plugged in.
You heard his music earlier when he was watching the video. Trey.
Yes.
Okay.
We could not hear you or see your mouth behind.
Yeah. I said I was speaking to you and then I asked you a question. All right. Well, cool.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have no audio for the quick shifter. We'll have to figure that out later. All right, so here we go. Kawasaki's electric prototypes makes an appearance at Intermot 2022. Will an EV entry by one of the big four move the needle further on electric bikes? Well, that looks so tiny. I stroked out halfway through that. That looks like a Ninja 400.
It looks like it looks like a Ninja 400 that's trying to.
No, a Z400.
Trying to be a H2.
Interesting.
Trellis boy.
I hope that it has the green headlight.
Every day,
it's an EV.
Kawasaki strays further from God's light. That is. Honestly, it doesn't look that bad.
It looks like a Z125.
It does look like a Z125. Yeah, interesting. I bet it's faster than the Z125. Yeah. All right, moving on.
Honda debuts.
Honda debuts.
I just it's all over my Honda debuts the CB750 Hornet at Intermont in Germany. Using the new 755 parallel twin, while not on an extreme update to the CB line, it offers the welcome refresh features for everyday rider. I like the new Hornet; it looks cool.
We're going to talk about it next week, so be careful how much you say.
Also, there's spy shots of that engine in it's going to be the Transalp.
Interesting.
Ooh. Yeah. I remember my first Duke 790.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Joe, we should have had you on next week, too. We could just trash Honda.
Wow.
BMW patents show a couple methods for retractable turn signals to get out of harm's way for off-road or on the track. Yeah, that sounds BMW-ish. I wonder if they're going to charge $18 a month for it.
God. Ooh. The motorcycle division is a different division than the car division.
Thank God.
You're thinking of KTM when
also,
it comes to that.
if your turn signals didn't cost $125 or more each, there wouldn't be a problem.
I think a lot of people are going to be sad about that. People like buying the really expensive
Yamaha turn signals left and right.
Yamaha needs to be who does this, because there's brake instantly. Sorry, Yamaha, I still love you.
Chase's dream bike got even better last week as Ducati announced the Multistrada V4 Rally. Just go get it and get your bro on.
I want this bike.
It's what it should have been in the first place.
Shut your mouth.
I mean, the Pikes Peak Rally.
You got the Rally and you got the Pikes Peak. You do a lot of road, you do a lot of dirt. Which one pick? Go.
Also, I don't know why they're calling it the Pikes Peak Rally.
It's not the Pikes Peak.
Not the Pikes.
The Pikes Peak is the road one.
Okay. I thought I heard you say Pikes Peak Rally a couple times.
Oh, bro, I would fucking die. I would sell everything I own. move across the country, and then buy a multi-straw.
Are we all going to California?
I guess so. Spoiler.
And
alert.
that. Oh wait, hold on. This is where it normally goes wonk wonk, and then we can't do anything. Boo. Okay, that was freaky because so many of you guys are doing the boo thing. Okay. Wait, there's there's interesting. Let's see what else is here.
We're not going to be able to hear a thing.
Oh, Ghost lost his first job as a ghost. Wait, what?
Ghost lost his first job as a ghost.
Ghost, I'm so
Is
sorry
this
to hear
gonna
about that.
Is this going to be funnier with? Oh my God.
Yes! Oh my goodness, Pac-Man.
I like how you're just avoiding the game mechanics entirely.
That's how. Oh yay! That's amazing. Ah!
Oh God.
That's
Man, yeah, that was really loud.
I need audio for this. I'm so sad. Ooh. Yikes. Very poignant. Fired by an exceptionally good getting Pac-Man. I'm so sad we don't have audio for this, Ghost. It makes me sad. That was great. All right, that's Quick Shifter. Now, I think that was about all the intro stuff. We can actually do what the show's about now, right? We talked about everything. All right.
I got a bone to pick with Ghost real quick.
I'm sorry. A what?
Oh,
A bone.
Yeah.
a bow.
Can you update our Note and remove my name from the update show text and hits record?
Ooh, interesting.
It's no longer my responsibility.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Until Trey leaves
Asterisk, most of the time.
and is off doing stuff.
Your bone has been picked.
Yes. I love it when my bone is picked.
Ugh, all right, that's not that kind of show. All right, guys, that's all the intro stuff.
So glad my mom is watching.
Is it all the intro stuff?
Wait, did I miss something?
I think maybe based
Can
on
you
post
hit
game.
that top?
I think that too.
Can you hit that top right button? Top right? Nope.
Housekeeping. How did I miss that? Well, that's poignant because we've been shooting with Joe all damn week.
Yeah.
So there's that. So what do we do this week? We shot one video with Joe today, which finishes a project, and then you embark on your big project that we shot some of. When was that? Tuesday.
Yeah.
What is this week? I don't remember what else we've done this week. If I'm going to be 100% honest, I have no idea. We got a new CF Moto bike.
Yep.
We swapsies. I posted a little teaser photo on Instagram. Super stoked on it.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it. What else? What happened on Monday? Did we work on Monday?
Yes.
I got to see the new fairings.
Trey laid out the
one.
Trey's the only guy that's seen the fairing to the CBR 600 for WBR Garage, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
That's all the important stuff this week, right?
Yeah,
You've just been editing like a I don't even know.
I can't believe you still have functioning eyeballs at this point.
I got laser eyes.
Lazier eyes?
No, laser eyes.
He paid for that.
Yeah, I paid a fucking pretty penny for this shit.
I've been thinking about doing
By
that.
the way, if you are on the fence, I know this has nothing to do with this, but if you
We
are
need an
on the
affiliate link
like,
Yeah.
for laser
seriously,
eyes.
if you are on the fence about LASIK, don't be.
We got a guy.
It's fucking great.
You have a discount code?
I got a
Hey.
referral. I get 500 bones
Wait, for real?
if they
If they go to the exact one?
Yeah.
And what? Say Bo sent me?
yeah. I don't know if it's still,
You just say, I
I don't know
to pick
I don't
with
know
you.
if there's if it's still up, but at least for the time for a while I had. If I got like a referral
I wish we
bonus.
could shout out and be like, everybody goes and be like, hey, Bo from Life on Two Wheels.
Kind of a big deal.
They're gonna be like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. It's well worth it.
Noted.
Especially if you're a motorcycle rider and you've ever ridden in a motorcycle with glasses.
So
There are very few
Me.
helmets that fit.
so you're
glasses
selling
well.
sell Joe on LASIK. That he's-
yeah, because
he's done.
I have astigmatism, so my vision's okay during the day.
Stigmatism. Fun fact:
Yeah.
LASIK will permanently fix that.
Oh.
So to get
Wait, what?
Yeah. So depending on how thick your
Welcome to the LASIK
corneas
on
are,
Two Wheels podcast.
Yeah.
And not to brag, my corneas are super thick.
They look pretty good from here.
Were they previously or
Yes, they were
afterwards?
previous. I had so much cornea.
With two C's.
So I will have to get adjustments after like 10, 15 years just because your eyes change over years, just like getting new prescriptions for glasses.
Right.
It's a very small procedure. But the astigmatism,
Like a tiny laser, or like so
Yeah,
not
just
the
like-
big lasers. Gotcha.
the astigmatism gone forever. The first time I saw lights at night,
Did you cry?
and it wasn't just like
It didn't look like a fucking Michael Bay movie.
yeah. I was like, I look at lights now, and it's just like, man, that's
Oh, you should get a line put in for anamorphic, and you just see everything in anamorphic.
That's what astigmatism is.
That's what I'm worried is going to happen to me when I move
Literally,
to LA.
astigmatism is an oblonging of the eyeball, the cornea, and stuff.
Do you think Michael
So
Bay
it-
has astigmatism, and he
that's-
just thinks all his movies are normal?
So it
Maybe.
works the same way as an anamorphic lens, where it stretches out in a weird way.
Huh. The
So,
more you know.
Go get LASIK if you're on the fence, and you
yeah,
and
Joe,
you
just
can,
stop on your way.
Yeah.
You can get it if you were able to. I would. It's good.
Adding that to the list of things to do.
Sadly, I could not make the same joke twice when I got my eyes fixed. Do you not remember
No.
when I got glasses as an adult?
No.
I had not worn glasses for years, and me and Marley had been together for a couple of years at this point, like 6.
Oh,
no.
God, don't do it. Stop.
And I
stop.
walked
Bo,
through
stop.
the door and opened it up. She's like, "Let me see the glasses." And I just turned around. I was like, "Holy shit, you're black!" Yeah, and then I
Made the
peeked-
record show I tried to stop that.
God.
I did
peeked.
everything I could.
I peaked humor-wise. It was the funniest thing I've ever said. Didn't think of it beforehand. It just came to me in the moment, and I've never been that funny in my entire life, and never will again.
Well, it's been good.
That's incredible,
It's been good
yeah.
having you guys on the show. We're definitely.
Yeah.
Why is that bad? She's black.
Yeah, wow. Chase is racist.
It would be
You heard it here
different.
first.
It would be different
Chase
if
is
she
upset.
wasn't black.
Feel bad. You should feel real bad right now.
He used the bow sound on Bo.
No,
this is
on
great.
you.
No, it definitely wasn't me.
You guys are laughing with me, right?
Anyway, we're gonna move on from terrible jokes. We're never gonna move on from terrible jokes.
that was good.
Okay, now the whole point of having Joe here, Joe, who are you and what do you do? So some of the people have probably seen you in amazing films, such as
The one.
What's the
The
title?
one, right?
What's the title of the video?
what did we title that?
Bing bong boom.
I know
Watch
that
out, Isla
the
Man.
thumbnail says "This is Ride or Die."
Yeah, it's right or
hold
die.
on. What did we?
Most
what did we?
dangerous race in
Yeah,
the
we
world?
titled it
Shit like
something
that?
about most dangerous race in the world. So
Oh, hey, Charlie Borman.
yeah, the most dangerous race in the world, Isle of Man 2022 with Moto. So if you guys watch every single video on the channel, which of course I hope you do, which you probably don't, but we got an opportunity a few months ago.
Yeah.
So we got an opportunity a few months ago. Moto wanted to send us out to Isle of Man. Nobody in the shop could go, and I knew Joe, so I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Isle of Man with Moto?" Luckily, he said yes. We made a really cool video of it, and now Joe is our California correspondent.
Indeed. Foreign correspondent sounds kind of fun,
does
too,
sound
actually.
better, actually.
And it makes it sound like you're going to send me overseas more often, so I'm not going to decline
man.
the push for that.
Well, Joe, we're not going to get into what I want to say. Can't say those type of things yet.
He's
but
not supposed to say it, but he's sending me everywhere.
We get
around the world.
opportunities that we are taking advantage of very soon. Trey, looking over at you. We can't talk about it yet, but it's going to be
Oh,
great.
do I not know about this either?
You don't know about this, and I almost said it, but I don't know if there's
Me
like
too.
embargoes
I
and
almost
stuff.
did that. I almost.
I went to go pick up euros for emergency money today.
Ooh.
My rose.
Yeah, your rose. Your rose.
Oh, yeah. I was like The Bachelor?
My rose.
Am I on The Bachelor, but motorcycles?
Your fucking hands out my
What if-
rose.
What if we had like a little
sick.
Joe? You're the next contestant on The Bachelor.
Boy, are they bad at casting, if so.
Did I see that they are dropping them through trapdoors now?
I can
We're
only
not. No. We're
imagine.
stopping this right now.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
We can have a sidebar about The
Anyway,
Bachelor.
Okay.
we'll talk after the show, I guess. So, there's cool stuff happening. Anyway, Joe was on. He was our California correspondent for that. Got to go out to the Isle of
I like
Man.
foreign. The more you say it,
Foreign
Yeah,
correspondent.
I'm okay with foreign correspondent.
I mean, California is foreign, right?
to me.
Yeah.
People do like to joke that it's its own country.
Yes, can
That's
confirm.
true.
Have been there. So Joe did a video for us then, and then that has kind of like fed into this like, hey, Joe makes content with us type thing. But people might have seen you from that, but they might not know like who you are. So give us a brief background on who you are and what do you do.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Joe Jackson. I'm 28 years old. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a full-time automotive photographer. So that covers anything and everything as long as it's got a motor and wheels and a little bit of other stuff too, but that's pretty much the only thing I advertise. And yeah, if you want to get real far back, I am the son of a collegiate athlete and a college band director who was born and bred into a family that really emphasized creativity and athletics. So
How was that?
really weird, because I was both the high school band geek, which I'm extremely proud of. Shout out to Dunwoody. But then became a college athlete. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I love riding motorcycles. I like taking pictures. I like playing tennis, and that's pretty much everything in my life.
Boom. That's Joe. So
That's all he is. Too. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Just those things.
just
that
not
he
an
knows.
photos,
enigma.
motorcycle, tennis.
Yes.
That's all. So how did you get into motorsport photography? Like, did you? I know there's not like a. Did you? I don't know what degree you have. Did you get a photography degree?
So
or-
we were talking about this the other day, actually. Chase and I
Scad-
Oh,
actually.
you guys are SCAD brothers.
We are, and Carolyn, Doodle on a Motorcycle,
Yeah.
is also into SCAD.
Really?
Yes, there seems to be a strong correlation.
I
and-
said
all
that
we're
like
saying-
I didn't know, and it just registered. I'm like, oh yeah.
So if you want to be
Yeah.
awesome and ride motorcycles, go to SCAD. Also, get in debt. I'm just saying.
yes, or play a sport.
West Georgia Technical, let's go.
There you go.
Don't even have a mascot.
Yeah.
So, so you went to SCAD.
Yep.
Good. What did you major in? Because I went to SCAD and I don't do nothing close to what I do.
Sure, yeah. So we'll tie this into one beautifully wrapped story for you guys.
Ah,
So essentially,
yes.
I went to SCAD to study television producing, and I
Nice.
did a photo minor. Didn't really love taking pictures growing up. My dad was a photographer as like a side hustle, so I was always his unpaid assistant, and that got really old really fast. I took 2 photo electives, and I was like, oh, maybe this is kind of cool. I'll do it as a minor. And then I worked 14 hours straight on a project for a minor class that had no impact on my graduation status, and I was like, oh, maybe I love this. And so it's kind of a convoluted story, but essentially to finish my minor, I had to take 1 photo elective, and because of the way the athletic schedules work, our scholarships don't hit until after everyone else's do. So we can't finalize our class schedule until the end because of the way ad drop week works, yada yada,
Right.
logistics, college admissions. So I got stuck. Instead of taking an easy photo class, I had to take fashion photography, which was a 700 level class taught by Alan Cooley, amazing guy. He's done a bunch of tears for Vogue. He's a fantastic beauty and fashion photographer. But I was like, I like, at the time, not a big motorcycle guy. I like cars. I like hot rods. I play sports. What am I going to do in this fashion class? And I really just did the absolute bare minimum, like technically followed the assignments to a T. And it finally got to the end, and my professor called me out straight up. He's like, Joe, like, you've been doing real average work this entire quarter. So if you guys, like, art school gets a rep for being like, oh, they'll take everyone, it's super easy. Brutal. I have never seen more people cry during critiques in my entire life. That is almost the goal at some point. It's constructive, but it's brutal. So I took that to heart, and a buddy of mine, a photo professor, had introduced me to another automotive photographer who was doing a bunch of work for Harley Davidson, and he had just kind of started blowing up.
Right.
And we met, and he was like, "Oh, you guys should meet. This is Joe. Joe's a student. He likes shooting cars. You should talk." So that guy kind of helped me out a little bit. And there was this place in EAV, East Atlanta Village, called Brother Moto. It was a motorcycle co-op.
R.I.P.
And RIP, but we'll get to that. And essentially for $30 a month at this place, you could go in, just use it as a coffee shop. You didn't need a membership for that. That was just a normal coffee shop. But for $30 a month, you had access to lifts, to tools, to instruction, and they would help you. It was a DIY garage. So the nice thing is, like, most people can't afford to rent a place with a garage if you live in the city. So easy peasy. Hop on your bike, bring your oil change stuff with you, change your oil at the shop. They dispose of the oil. They handle all of the disposal stuff, and you can work on it. So I knew that he knew one of the founders, Jared Erickson, who's a fantastic person, 10 out of 10 guy. And I was like, hey, could you text Jared? Maybe, like, motorcycles are kind of like cars. I went to their opening party. It was cool. I was like, they sell T-shirts. It'd be really cool to shoot their clothing.
Hey, that's fashion.
Hey, what?
And yeah, and I was like, this is fashion. This is clothing.
We might have been there.
I think we were there.
You at the EAV one?
Yeah.
Tiny one? Not you. I know you went to the Cabbage Town party.
Oh,
Because I remember you guys
that's
did something about that. Because I think they
That's
sold out of like safety glasses or something after a video.
I
That's
have 3 of their safety glasses.
That's
in the
amazing.
shop.
Anywho, so basically I went in. Jared was super nice. He let me take pictures of their clothing. bar none, they were the best photos I'd ever taken. My fashion professor was like, this is what I've been wanting to see this entire time.
Passion.
And I was like, this is incredible. Like, I think I'm really into this. I've never taken pictures like this. And that was the first time I was like, oh, maybe I could like do this and be really good at it. And so I texted the buddy who introduced me to Jared, who's an automotive photographer, and I said, hey, I think I might be good at motorcycle photography. How do I get better at this? And he was like, do you ride? And I said, no. And his exact text back to me was, and I quote, well, you're a fucking poser then.
Yeah.
So I went out and bought
That's
a bike.
the push you needed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, I'm not going to be a poser.
And I was like, man, okay, so I got to buy a bike, but I couldn't afford anything that was running. And I was like, oh, well, Brother Moto, I can buy a non-running bike. I'll buy a membership for $30 a month and I'll fix it at Brother Moto. You can store bikes there. It was
I
great.
love this plan. Yeah.
So the next day, I bought a non-running 1979 Yamaha SR250.
As your first.
Called up Jared. Because, okay, you got to context-wise, this is 2014 or 15. This is peak of the cafe racer surge.
Okay, so you had good
in
intentions.
Yeah. I went to art school. I was a hipster. I am
I got
happy
this.
to claim that.
Yeah.
But so I call it. So I buy the bike. It's $500. It has a title, which is amazing. I call up Jared and I was like, sign me up for a membership. And he's like, we close today. They got shut down because of some old zoning laws not allowing them to be in East Atlanta Village because you can only have so many repair shops within a square mile. Yada, yada, yada. I got the bike running in my living room, continued to take pictures, and like photography and motorcycles grew hand in hand for me. And just like being in and around that scene and bringing my camera with me has slowly turned, it was to the point where I could do this as a side hustle. This was starting to become income. And then, long story short, I hated working film and television. It's an amazing industry. It pays well. But if you don't love it, it will chew you up and spit you out and make you look like you're 40 when you're 20. So I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. And I got another unique opportunity to go back to SCAD, actually on scholarship again, which is the only way you should go, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Because that guy's in a lot of debt, allegedly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Allegedly. And I studied design because I wanted a good job. All my friends that had good jobs were designers and went to SCAD. Carolyn, I think, actually.
That's
Doodle.
where I messed up, guys.
Yep, Doodle had
wasn't
a
a
degree
designer.
in graphic design.
Video games.
But we were trying to make video games.
Yeah,
Damn it.
and but I knew I still wanted motorcycling to be part of what I did.
Right.
So I started blowing up people on on LinkedIn who worked in the motorcycle industry. No one would message me back.
Right.
And then I hopped on Instagram. I graduated with my second degree right as COVID hit. So that NBA game where the tip-off happened and they canceled the game right before the
Right.
ball went up,
Yeah.
like that is my marker for when the world took it seriously. Because you know when
Jeez.
sports is canceled, the world is like, ugh.
Yeah, now it's it's like Waffle House shutting
Yeah,
down.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like 9/11 stopped baseball. That's how you know it was real.
Right.
All this other, like sports, for whatever reason in America, is an indicator of shit has hit the fan. If we
Right.
don't play sports, it's bad.
Yeah.
So
I can't
that
That
imagine
was
happened.
right
football.
when the pandemic started.
Yes, and so I
The
graduated.
dream fucker.
Right. Oh, dude, you want to talk about anxiety? Graduating. First of all, we've lived through so many recessions. Mm-hmm. I know people bitch about millennials, but like, can we stop living through historical events,
Right.
please?
Well, we're gonna get them all out of the way early, so
Right,
that
right.
way the rest of our life, it's just gonna be.
If you don't,
That will
if you
happen.
don't, you'll make it through.
Right. So, anywho, so at the same time, Revzilla started doing Instagram Lives every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
they basically stopped making content because we didn't know, no one knew what protocol was going to be. There was no COVID testing.
Right.
So Revzilla was doing a happy hour every week from, I think they still do it actually, every
Yeah.
Wednesday from like 5:30 to 6:30 or something. And if you ever go on these Instagram Lives, you can ask the host questions. It was usually Spurgeon. It would rotate hosts.
Right.
And but everyone asked the same question: what's your favorite motorcycle?
What bike should I start on?
Exactly. What's the best bike you've ridden? What's the worst bike you've ridden? Like the same questions. So I was like, I bet I can get these guys to know who I am if I ask good questions. So every week I would write out questions before I got on the Instagram Live, and I'd be like,
Bro,
tell
you
me
were
about it.
pro gaming
I was
it.
like, because film taught me more than any other industry. Is not like, as long as you are good enough for the bare minimum, it's about who you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to get in any way I can. No one's responding to me on LinkedIn. I want to work in the industry. Revzilla seems like a cool place to work. And
They're kind of big.
yeah. And so eventually I just started asking good questions that I'd prepare. And it got to the point where like they recognized me. So every Instagram Live.
So you
happy
just,
hour,
that was like your primary thing. You're like, I'm going to make
gonna
sure
bomb
I'm
these
there.
Instagram Lives
Right.
with good questions and provide good feedback and like help from a participation standpoint
Right,
elevate
yeah.
this show.
Absolutely.
And it worked. It got to the point they'd log in. Oh, Jackson Photo's in the chat. He's from Atlanta.
Right.
And I DM'd, I think Brandon Wise, and I was like, hey, like, asked him some questions. I was like, by the way, I'm a photographer and designer in Atlanta. I went to school for graphic design the second time. If you guys are hiring, I would love to let you know. And he's like, oh, do you have a portfolio? I think our design team is hiring. Which was crazy. Like, he's a video host. How was he supposed to know the design team was hiring?
Right.
Good indicator. Really close-knit team there. And long story short, I got a call from Revzilla 2 weeks later and got a job interview. So you went from commenting on Instagram Lives, valuable questions to
Playing that
increase
game.
their show. Yeah. Did that consistently enough to where you were known by them, and then use that to get. So when you got a job for the design team, what were you doing as a designer there? So I was on the design team originally for Cycle Gear. So as you guys have seen, Cycle Gear has really changed a lot of the looks for their in-house brands, as well as like how the stores are starting to look. Right. So my job at first was helping Cycle Gear kind of refresh that identity and like push them in some new design directions. Gotcha. And then from there, I got put on the Revzilla team. So everything from the Cycle Gear catalogs, I helped design those. If you go to your Cycle Gear and see the big banners on the end of aisles, it's cool. I have pictures of me with banners I designed at my local Cycle Gear. Nice. That's got to be really freaking cool to be able to walk into a store and be like, it was pretty cool. I made that in Photoshop or whatever the fuck.
I feel that way every
awesome.
time I walk into a honey baked ham.
Yeah.
It's like half of this building I have touched. And that's true about all of the honey baked hams.
I will think about that every time I'm in a honey baked ham from now on.
Yeah. How often do you find yourself in a honey baked ham?
Every other day.
And that would be hilarious if you were like super into honey baked ham.
Yeah. And Moe's.
And Moe's. I don't go to Moe's all that often, I'll be honest.
Schlotsky's, McAllister's, Cinnabon, Auntie Anne's.
Why didn't you lead with Cinnabon, honestly? But anywho, so I was a designer at Revzilla for about a year, and it was great. I was the only employee in Atlanta. Everyone else we were all remote pandemic.
Oh, so you didn't have, pandemic.
Yeah,
so you didn't have to move or anything.
Everyone else is in Philly. I'm in Atlanta. And Spurgeon reaches out to me, and we'd had some Instagram correspondence over the months of the pandemic and stuff, and he's like, hey, we work together now. You're in Atlanta, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, we're trying to film a review for the Trident 660 down in Atlanta. Okay. I've seen your photos. Do you want to shoot the stills for this review? And you can go look. It's still up on Common Tread. Nice. And I was under the impression I was not going to get paid for that, which I could care less. And
you were getting to do the photos and the motorcycle.
Right. It was cool. I got to keep the press bike for a couple days before they got there. I rode it up to North Georgia in the morning while he went over the script in the car. And I worked an 18-hour day. And I thought I wasn't getting paid. And at the end of that day, I was like, this is the best day at work I've ever had.
Doesn't involve money, but yeah.
They did end up paying me. So don't want to say that. But they did pay me. And that was kind of when it clicked. I was like, oh, if I'm getting paid or not, this is not work to me. This is the most fun I can have.
You found the thing you need to find.
Exactly. Yeah. So over the next few months, I just thought about it more and more, and I brought it up with my managers and art directors and creative directors, and they supported it. So I left Revzilla, thankfully, on very good terms. And that was last November.
Yeah, nobody punched you when we saw them up there.
No, it was awesome. Cool. I do some stuff for them still. Like, it's really cool.
What's that like, leaving a job and get turned?
Right, exactly. No severance. That sucks.
Money.
Pro tip, just get fired.
Yeah, just go out with
I don't think I even worked there long enough to get severance.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so that is like the story of how like I've done it professionally. I've done it professionally for about 10 years, but always as like a side source of income.
Right.
But last November, I realized I was like, you know what, this is the time. I need to take the step and commit and do this full time. So
at this point, you make all of your income by taking photos for clients of motorsport stuff.
I'd say 90%. Yeah. I do a little bit of headshot work for corporate stuff. So like so if you work for a large ad agency, there's a very good chance that I've done the headshots for your entire team across the United States. Cool. So that's fun because that's like a quarterly deal. And that's pretty regular income. But yeah, I would say that's about 10% of it. The rest is shooting stuff involving engines and wheels and that sort of thing.
That's pretty cool. I can sympathize with being able to find a job where when you're doing it, you're like, I would do this regardless. Yeah. Like this would be my thing I would do on the weekends, and then you're like, but I can be paid to do this?
Yeah.
I would like to do more of this and be paid more money to do more things. So Motorcycle Podcast, I assume you have a motorcycle. I have to be stupid. I know you have a fucking motorcycle.
Excellent segue.
What's that like?
God, he's smooth.
Please,
both.
what is a motorcycle?
Oh,
I
man.
see here that
So,
you...
Joe, you say you're a motorcycle photographer. Do you
it.
have any motorcycles yourself?
So for the first time in a long time, I only have one right now. But it's funny. So I actually
Fucking amateur.
shout out to my buddy William Panic, who's a friend of the show.
Is that his last name for real?
P-A-N-I-K, Panic. William Panic. It's a great
Wow.
name. Yeah.
Claps for that.
Cool dude. He moved to Atlanta I guess 2 years ago now. It's been a minute. COVID makes time not real.
Man, I hope he didn't.
So he and I have a running list of every motorcycle we've owned and ridden. So I'm going to read to you every motorcycle I've owned since 2016. Because that's when I
Joe
got my
was not
first one.
prepared for this podcast.
I was not.
at all.
This is a real thing. He and I compete to see who can ride the most bikes, and we're neck and neck right now.
Nice.
So I get
Joe,
the
if
note.
you worked at this place for 1 year,
So,
you could slaughter him.
I have owned, and this is in order from beginning to now, and I will go back and follow up. I have asterisks next to the ones that I think were special. So
wow.
these are I've owned the following motorcycles, and you might hear certain bikes twice on this list. In order: 1981 Yamaha SR250, 2016 Yamaha Bolt, 2005 Yamaha FC6, 2001 Suzuki LS650, 1974 Kawasaki KZ400, 2005 Yamaha FC6, 2011 Suzuki TU250X, 2019 Triumph Speed Twin, 2003 Triumph Sprint 955i, 2013 Kawasaki Vulcan 1700 Nomad, 2012 Triumph Tiger 800XC, 2020 Kawasaki Ninja 400, 2014 BMW R1200 GS Adventure. We're not done. 2019 KTM 790 Duke, 2019 Triumph Scrambler 1200XC, and it leads me to now the only bike I currently own and the bike I'm taking to California with me, a 2022 KTM 890 Adventure R.
Joe, your
I
motorcycle.
like how you went like, you were like, oh, these are nice little chill bikes. Like, 1250 GS.
Yeah, I was like cheap. Yeet. Like
I love that your motorcycles, if you had a board and it was just full of the adventure bikes were up here, cafe racers and super sports, you literally took a handful of darts and you just fucking threw them at the board.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll have
Well,
those.
I had to try every kind of motorcycling.
Okay, so
and if you don't run a YouTube channel where your job is to review motorcycles, it's kind of hard to ride them unless you buy them.
fair. Okay, I'll take that. My motorcycle history looks so pathetic. I've had like 4. So that's impressive. So okay, so you
That's
got
just
the
owned. I've ridden and I've ridden 47 additional motorcycles that I haven't owned.
GG.
I'm not going to read that list because it's extensive.
That's gonna be this entire episode is
yeah,
just
yeah.
Joe.
Wait, you mean that first list wasn't 40?
No, that was so I've owned 16 motorcycles to date.
Cool.
So you're currently on an ADV bike.
Yes.
Is that because like I imagine as a fellow rider, we go through kind of, I guess you can call them seasons of riding where sometimes cruisers are the thing. Sometimes it's naked, sometimes it's ADV bikes. Is ADV just like where you are right now, or do you kind of want other styles of riding, but you're doing your big trip that we'll talk about here in a minute?
So yes and no. So I didn't get into ADV. I used to be really anti off-road. So I started riding street. Excuse me. Burp.
Same.
And then I got into track riding, which I'm horrible at, but it's a lot of fun.
Right. And exhausting.
Yes, but not as exhausting as riding off-road, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And I have the health metrics to show it. Good Lord. Anywho, so I was like anti-dirt, but I loved.
I'm a clean guy.
Right. So I got to say, I'll be 100% honest. I got into riding motorcycles because I thought it looked cool. And anyone who says that's not a little bit of the reason,
It's a lie.
Is
It's
a
100%
fucking
Same reason
liar.
I picked up a guitar.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm gonna get
Anyways,
chicks.
so it was to start that. It was because I wanted to look cool, and I was like, I think I'll be better at photography if I own the thing I'm taking pictures of. I need to be credible. I
Right,
need to be-
because you had the love for photographing
that
bikes.
part,
before you
that
rode.
part sounds like you're justifying the first part.
for sure.
If you sure,
But I doubt about it. Yeah, so I went from cafe bikes, and then I had that horribly unreliable SR250, which was such a fun bike. Fun fact, I sold that to the drummer for Interpol,
Nice.
Sam Fogarino. Such a nice guy.
You are so
Paid me
interlinked in
way
the
too
world.
much money for that motorcycle. And then
He'll
I was
never
like,
see this,
okay,
so
I
you
want
can-
a reliable motorcycle.
I robbed you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that guy's struggling for money, I'm sure. Side note, if anyone knows him and that bike is still in Athens, I would love to see it. I don't have his number anymore because that was on an old phone and I didn't save it because I didn't know who he was at the time. So then I got into cruisers because I was like, I want to do road trips. Like, I want to go camping on my motorcycle. I want to do long distance.
It's in the name.
And like morons, my best friend Taka and Oliver and I rode these cruisers around America for 36 days. So I took that Yamaha
Is there an
Bolt.
article that you wrote?
There is, yeah.
Okay, because I was looking at that earlier, and I was like, when did Joe have a cruiser?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Where did you go? So I need to know more information about this.
Yeah, so 2017, basically, I graduated from college, did a 5th year victory lap. It's a nice way to put it. My guidance counselor was like, "You are so well educated," and I was like, "That is one way to put it."
Yeah.
So I graduated college. I hated my major, loved my minor, photography,
Right.
and had a little bit of money saved up because I was actually planning on moving to California then. I was way too cocky. Got a first round job interview at Uber, and then like 2 weeks later, Uber got sued in Germany, and they pulled all their jobs. So I had no job. I'd sold I'd sold all my furniture. I'd sold my
Yeah.
television. I was ready to move to California with a backpack full of money.
So you were literally what you're doing now.
Exactly. And Taka's born in Japan, raised in Australia, was on a student visa, got a job, was sponsored, but he lost that job before it renewed for basically the next step, H-1B, before your green card.
Right.
And so Taka had 30 days to find a job, or he had to leave the country. He had to go
shit.
back to Australia or Japan. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, we have a little over a month and a half at this point when we'd figured it out. And I was like, your dream was to ride a Harley Davidson to California.
Yeah.
Where have you been in the United States? And he originally got recruited to play at Kentucky.
Okay.
And then he moved to Atlanta, and he's been to New York City and Los Angeles and nowhere else. So I was like, buddy, there's a lot more U.S. to see.
There's a lot of space in between.
So with a couple weeks notice, and then Oliver had just graduated from the Naval Academy. So we had planned this trip, right? Taka and I were going to ride motorcycles around the U.S. until he had to be deported, basically.
Just going to ride until a helicopter
How much
came
America
in.
can we see before you have to leave the country?
Right.
And it was awesome. Oliver knew about the plan. Oliver did not ride motorcycles. Oliver had selected to fly jets for the U.S. Navy. He ended up being a helicopter pilot for the Navy, which is way cooler apparently, and way tougher.
Yeah.
But so Oliver was like, well, I've always wanted to do as much of the Trans-America Trail as I could, which if you don't know is a route that is like mostly off-road that goes from the East Coast to the West Coast with as much dirt roads as possible. It's a really cool route. You can do it on a motorcycle. It's on my bucket list, which I think we'll get to later because I sneakily looked at the questions.
Hey!
But anywho, so Oliver was going to meet us up as we crisscrossed the TAT on our trip. So we get to see each other occasionally. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 weeks before the trip, I get a call from Oliver. Oliver is not a late night person. He is in the Navy. He wakes up at 4:30 or whatever you want to call it.
Disgusting.
He does not say that. I don't want anyone to think he's lame. I said that. So then he calls.
I'm lame.
I'm lame, not him. He flies helicopters and gets paid really well. It's a cool job.
Yeah.
So he calls me at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever it is. And he's like, I just read the first page of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And I was like, oh, you're fucked, buddy. And he was like, is it a terrible idea if I get a motorcycle and do it on this trip with you guys?
Yeah.
First ever bike. He's never ridden a motorcycle. And I was like, you know what? If you bought a bike tomorrow and rode it every single day until we left, I think you can do it.
Yeah.
So the next day, he wired me $4,000. I bought another Yamaha Bolt because I knew that bike in and out and knew how to fix it.
Okay.
And at the day after that, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I left Atlanta and rode 700 miles to Annapolis, Maryland to deliver his motorcycle. And then the next day, he graduated college. So at any of the U.S. military academies, you're not allowed to own motorcycles. They've invested a lot of money in you at this point.
Okay,
It's too
fair.
much of a liability. So he was allowed to ride after that.
Right.
He put 2 tanks of gas through it, and then he shipped it to Atlanta, and we all left a month later. And he rode 10,000 miles around America with us. So no interstates, only back roads, probably about 150 miles of gravel roads. So this was the trip that like got me hooked on long distance touring.
How do you not after something
Incredible. Like best, most formative trip of my life.
On a Bolt, no less.
on a Bolt?
Oh, I
no
sold the
less.
shit out of that bike when I got back.
You want to buy another one?
No.
I got one.
Great motorcycle. Truly love them. Do not ride around America on a Yamaha Bolt.
Hey, don't listen to
and
him.
expect it to be comfortable.
If you want to ride around in a
You
Yamaha
totally can.
Bolt,
It's doable.
you just
I
let
did.
me know. I'll sell you one.
So
Nice segue
Right.
to try to sell your bike.
It's just sitting in my
All right,
carport, sadly.
before we continue after that, we're going to do an ad really fast, and then we'll hear more from the crazy adventures of Joe.
there we go.
What's going on, guys? This episode of Live on Two Wheels is brought to you by Revzilla's RPM membership. What that is basically a membership program that only costs $60 a year, not a month, but a year, and you get a ton of rewards from it. It's kind of like Amazon Prime for Revzilla. So if you're buying a lot of motorcycle gear, especially on Revzilla, this could be really interesting for you. check out all of the things you get for this. So you're going to get free 2-day shipping and returns. You're going to get 10% off exclusive brands. You're going to get 5% cash back, period. Also, for you first-time members, you're going to get $15 in cash back from the moment you get this membership. It's also going to include early access to sales and phone lines and exclusive events. So if you're somebody that buys a ton of gear and could find a lot of value in this RPM thing, by all means, we'll have a link for you down in the description below. Thank you guys for supporting the show by going to that link. And thank you, Revzilla, for sponsoring this episode.
RPM membership also applies to cycle gear and J&P cycles. There, I updated the ad.
We'll see you guys with the rest of the show. There. Right. I guess thank you for watching through that. Also, if you aren't a person that's buying a lot of stuff on Revzilla, you can also support the show on wbargarage.com. Love you guys a long time. All right, Joe. So you and your buddies just I don't even want to say that you jump into motorcycling head first. Like, I feel like motorcycling is a rocket, and you guys run up with like really powerful magnets, and you're like, let's fucking go.
Pretty much. Fucking magnets.
Yeah,
ICP for y'all.
It sounds very much like when I hear people talk about things like this, I think of Carl. Do you remember Carl?
Big fan on the dude that came to our
the dude that just it's just like there's a type of personality which is like, oh, this is a thing, I'm fucking doing that thing.
What's
and
interesting?
Then just there's no like, oh, let me just dip the old toe in that. You're just like, no. Yeah, we're just like, this is the equivalent of like going cliff diving and not checking the water underneath.
Well, so something that's interesting is so Beau, I know when you started riding, same thing. You started riding and you went hardcore real fast, right?
Yeah.
Same thing for you.
Yep.
Like, I don't think people like motorcycling is a very niche thing. We know this from the audience online, but I feel like
You little weirdos.
I feel like the people that start riding and like really get into riding is you touch it and then it's just you're infected.
Well,
by
so
that
I
shit.
have a question about it because like I did pretty much the same thing. Where I differ from a lot of other people is when you started doing this, how much research did you do ahead of time, or was it as it was happening?
Like about the trip itself, or just motorcycling?
Motorcycling in general. That's the answer I needed.
It really depends on the thing. So, like, I am the kind of person, I have to know absolutely everything about everything before I feel like I can do it.
Okay.
So, like, if I can understand how something works, I feel comfortable doing it.
Okay.
But if I don't, I do not.
All right.
That was the dumbest way to explain that concept.
It's okay. It's okay.
Me like thing that could work, bueno.
No, how do before do.
Right, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's like,
So that's not very common. Because a lot of the people I talk to in that same situation that jump head first, it's like, oh, well, I'll figure this shit out as I'm going along. I like everything I start doing, like it's months of me just like, all right, how does this work? All right, how do I get all the information, and I still go into it going like, you don't know shit. This is all just academic.
Right, yeah.
Right. So like go into it and understand that you know how the basics of it work in theory. And then I go into it full bore and use that as my base. But like I never, if I'm doing something new, same thing with like ADV, writing, all this shit, I'm sitting there for months at a time just absorbing a lot. And not a lot of people are like that. A lot of people I talk to that kind of jump into the things, they literally just jump into it and go. But it sounds like...
Well, so to be fair, if I think about it, if I look back, right, the SR250, the first bike, I bought that 24 hours after I got that text that said you're a fucking poser.
Yeah.
And had no clue what I was doing and had to
You got double dog
everything.
dared.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Okay.
I think I realized through the process of getting that motorcycle running, which took me 3 months, it would have taken a competent mechanic 2 days, if that. Maybe 20 minutes, if I'm being completely honest with
props for
myself.
your first bike not being able to be ridden, though.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
going to start doing a new thing. Better buy the most fucked up version of it.
Exactly. Oh, dude, what a nightmare. Side note, if anyone needs to know anything about an SR250, which is a very niche motorcycle, they're not very popular, hit me up on Instagram. I will gladly answer any questions I can. That's Jackson_FOTO, Jackson Photo.
I love how you earned your first miles, like, of a motorcycle you
1000%.
own.
Well, so that bike
fucking
had
hilarious.
11 horsepower. 5 gears.
Slow
And
the fuck
I rode it to Athens and back a week after I got it working.
Good God damn.
Yeah, on
That
316.
ride
so
sucks.
pinned in 5th gear, chin on the tank. My god awful built well Gringo trying to rip
Slamming on
itself
brakes
off my
when
head.
the red lights randomly turn red on a highway.
Drum brakes, bud. But like, well, I just
job.
would hold my arms out and we'd slow down. But
Deploy the jacket.
yeah, but no, I think I realized in that process, in that first 2 or 3 months, I was like, oh, if I want to prevent the shit part of this and enjoy this like for a long time, I need to know everything about everything.
Yeah.
I'm
still
definitely the like researched a ton of it, which is why some of the videos that I'm most proud of on the channel are like Learn to Ride series. Because like I feel like as a guy going into the MSF course, you've never shifted or anything. You don't understand how the clutch works. When that's a guy thing to know, it's like I've never driven a manual car, and I'm now going to try to balance and ride this motorcycle at the same time. This should be great.
I just realized that you were asking him about the ADV bike. And we.
Oh yeah, this was a long answer.
It's a podcast. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not. I read the question and I was like, oh no, I want to know. Like,
So I can segue back into that.
Yes.
Challenge accepted.
This
Triple
brief,
dog
very
dare
funny
you.
story. So that SR250 didn't run when I bought it. I didn't have a license. I'd never ridden a motorcycle in my life. Cool. I had driven. I learned how to drive on a manual when I was 12.
Show off. Anyway,
3-speed with a grand of gear. Anywho, so I was like, so when I finally got the bike running, I wasn't going to book an MSF course until I had a running motorcycle, because in my brain, it's from an athletic background, it's muscle memory. If you don't use it, you lose it. I wanted to be able to ride the second I had a license. So I didn't book a course. The bike I got running way sooner than I thought I would. So I pushed it out of my living room, out my front door, put a plank of wood on the steps, rolled it down into the driveway.
I was about to say, we were shooting in that house. You went down that flight of stairs on. No, great decision making. Let's keep going.
100%. Real smart bud. And I watched a 2-minute YouTube video on how motorcycles work, like how to change gears, because I was like, I know how it works on a manual car.
Yep.
And then I rode around my block 6 times, and I parked it, and I signed up for an MSF course, because I was like, I know how this works. I don't know how to ride this.
Nice.
Like, I can change
I'm
gears.
glad you didn't go further than
Oh, no. But yeah, there's a video that Taka has of me with my arms extended, my jacket flowing in the breeze, with the biggest fucking grin imaginable on my face, because I've never felt like more of an accomplished human being in my life.
Nice.
That's fair.
Yes, but so 2017, big road trip around America. I fall in love with touring. Love cruisers. Fast forward a couple years later, well, intermission. I rode. So the whole 2017 road trip thing went viral on Imager. I posted a big photo journal. I got a couple 100,000 views, like hundreds of comments. It was
Nice.
cool. And one guy commented and was like, "Nice trip, but you couldn't have picked worse bikes." And I was like, first of all, these are the motorcycles we had. We're in
Right.
college. Yeah, of course it's not like the
I
ideal.
don't see you going across the country.
Like you had unlimited funds and time, and you
Right.
could just do whatever the hell
So
you
Buy
want.
me the bike, you asshole.
Exactly.
From
So
back then.
I was like,
From back then. He's not an asshole anymore, to be clear.
yeah, he's reformed, guaranteed. So I was like, what's the dumbest bike I could take cross country?
Just for that guy.
So the year after that, or 2 years after that, because so around America on inappropriate bike, whatever, I buy that FC6 after the Yamaha Bolt.
Right.
I do up and down the East Coast on it. It's fun, but like it's not an adventure. The
Nah.
bike was meant to do that, and it did it, and it was pretty comfortable, and I ate a lot of good food, and it was a nice vacation. It was not an
Right.
adventure. So I was like, I miss that excitement of the challenge of what we did in 2017.
Yeah.
And then that comment started ringing in my ears again. And so I bought a Suzuki TU250 and rode that to Pikes Peak from Atlanta. So 1,700 miles or something like that.
A 250 to Pikes Peak.
Yes. And boy, let me tell you, can't recommend that one either. But
Do
I'm
you
glad I
have
did
a
it.
thumbs down emoji on your list of like, don't buy this one? Don't
So
buy
I
this
actually have
one.
an asterisk because that bike was special. What a cool bike! If you're buying a small bike, it's the TU250 is an amazing starter bike. It is my favorite starter bike of all time.
Okay.
Particularly if you're not like, there's a lot of great bikes for people that are shorter. If you're 5'7" or taller, you feel cramped on a lot of these beginner bikes that are
Sucks
smaller.
to be you guys.
I know. Ooh, big lanky giants. Not that I'm that
just
tall at
giant
all.
size.
I'm very marginally above average height for a man. But the TU250 is a full-size motorcycle with a tiny engine. So it looks, you don't look like an ape riding a tricycle on it, and it's comfortable ergonomically for like the average size guy or taller.
Right.
But it looks cool. So great bike, whatever. We can get
Everything has to be boiled down, and it looks cool.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So I'll save that tangent for another thing because that's a whole other story of riding 14 horsepower, 1,500 miles. And there's certainly
course.
dumber bikes to do it on. There's CT90, whatever that guy is, who's ridden around the world on a CT90.
Yeah.
Hilarious stuff. But yeah, so I had gotten, and then a couple years later, so this was the theme. Every year we do a road trip, or I would at least do one with either Taka or Oliver, or both if I could.
Right.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
So we decided 2 years ago to do nuts to butts or bust. And essentially, Taka and I thought it would be really funny to have 3 dudes on 2 motorcycles go from Atlanta to Pikes Peak. I love Colorado. It's a great place to ride.
Okay.
So I bought, this is right when the pandemic started, and all the bike prices were actually cheap.
Yeah.
And I picked up a Kawasaki Vulcan 1700, which is a big bagger, for $4,000.
Okay.
It's cruise control. It's a big twin. It's liquid cooled. It's like 105
Everything's
horsepower.
making sense so far.
Yeah, and it's a big comfy bike with rebound adjustable suspension from Kawasaki and air preload shocks. So easy
Okay.
to change your load. You don't have to get wrenches out. You literally just pump it up with a bike pump.
Right.
And we thought that'd be awesome. And it was great for the long
Does it have
straight
an
stuff.
asterisk on your list?
It does. That's one of the bikes I really missed that I sold.
Okay.
And but turns out you put 2 6-foot dudes on any motorcycle and it's pretty uncomfortable after a while.
Are you telling me that designers are not making motorcycles to be ridden by 2 6-foot men?
It as startling as
Interesting.
that might be, yes.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
But aside from that, so I start so literally I'm on the back of this bike shopping for bikes in Colorado because I was like, okay, here's what we'll do.
While
Yeah.
just okay,
I was like,
yeah.
I've got just enough savings. I could blow it all so I don't have to ride this stupid goddamn bagger back with another person on it.
Oh my
And then I'll
God.
sell the bagger when I get, or I'll sell
Right.
whichever bike I like less when I get home.
It'll be a death match when
Yeah.
you get home. You can sell one.
So we get to Colorado. I buy a Tiger 800 XC, basically sight unseen. I've pretty much agreed to buy this bike.
Where'd you buy it on? Like Craigslist or something?
Marketplace, Facebook Market. I'd seen pictures, but you never know. And but we had one day in Colorado Springs, so I had to buy it, or we were
So
chewing
you
up
were like,
home.
this'll work here.
Yeah, and it like clicked. I was like, oh, I can have a bike that's comfortable long distance touring and still enjoy the twisty roads when I get there. Now,
Interesting.
given like an ADV touring bike is 90th percentile compared to something like a Road King or an Ultra Glide or like just a big bag or whatever, it's Harley or not. But when you get to a twisty road or a rough road, night and day, it's way better.
Yeah.
So that was it. Originally for me, it wasn't even like, oh, I want to do on-road, off-road. It was,
Right.
I want to be able to ride long distance to these places and enjoy the roads when I get there. And then dirt slowly followed. I went out to Mojave and did
came before the egg.
very much so. The
Yeah.
ADV bike came before, so I had a GSA long before I ever rode dirt. Yeah, so sold the Tiger 800. What did I have in between? Oh yeah, sold sold the.
This is what happens when you have
I
16
so many
fucking bikes.
Yeah, sold the bagger. Eventually sold the Tiger because it wasn't quite suiting my needs. Bought a track bike because I started getting into the track day stuff, and then realized that I wanted to start touring again. Bought the GS, one of the best motorcycles I've ever owned. I hate that all the hype is true. The GS 1200 is a fucking phenomenal platform.
I have
It's
not
great
done a
bike.
first ride on a GS to this day. Like, and
Yeah.
There's 2 of them up there.
we keep coming into these opportunities where
Do
one's
that.
up there, but it's always like, well, there's this other thing that would fit our market a little better, so I end up riding
Right.
that one. But I'm honestly really excited to ride a GS at some point in time, whenever
Yeah.
the hell that
So,
happens.
so then you had taste of dirt.
Yeah, so I went out to, I was working at Revzilla when they started doing the ADV Fest stuff.
Yeah.
So that first year, so I designed a lot of the signage for that.
So Mojave was your first.
Mojave was my first time ever off-road. So I flew out to Mojave.
Hey, same.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. So I
Yay.
flew out to Mojave, did ADV Fest with them, rented a BMW GS 850
Okay.
through, I can't remember if it was Rider Share. I've used both Twisted Road and Rider Share. They're both great.
Yep.
Right.
The cool caveat with Rider Share is if the owner allows it, for an extra $50, you can match whatever your insurance deductible is for on-road, off-road. They will cover the bike for off-road riding.
No shit.
Which came in handy.
Nice. Yeah, I bet.
I literally dropped that bike at 6 miles an hour in the sand, and it cracked 2 fairing mounts, and it was $1,200. But because I paid for the extra insurance off-road,
$50.
it was I paid a $50 deductible.
Nice.
It was great. Anywho, yeah, so I was like, oh, this is really fun.
Yeah.
And then I started riding dirt more often. I bought that Scrambler 1200 because I couldn't find a Tenere 700. And I was like, oh, on paper, same bike, same suspension travel, similar everything, but this has more power. It's not as good off-road as the T7. I don't think anyone's confused about that.
Right.
And then I realized I was probably going to move to California. And I love the GS. It's an amazing bike. It's a little. I had the big one, so 7.8
You had the
gallon gas
GSA,
tank.
right?
Yeah, I had the A, so it's really tall. So I'm tiptoeing on it. I got a 32-inch inseam, still barely touch the ground.
How tall are you?
6 feet tall.
What is wrong with my legs?
Yeah, you're a little like.
I'm
What is it, Gumby?
5'7", and I have a 31-inch inseam.
That's horrifying. Beau looks like Beau's hips end right below his nipples, if you can't tell.
I got lady legs.
So
What the
yeah,
hell's going on?
I was like, the GS is an awesome bike, and if I had to own one bike for the rest of my life, genuinely, it would be.
If you could only have one,
if,
that's
if
where
I
you
could only
go.
have one for the rest of my life, it'd be a GS 1200 Adventure because it is. It doesn't do anything great. Actually, that's a lie. It does touring fucking phenomenal, but it doesn't.
I would like to take that.
But
back.
it'll blow your mind with how it handles in the twisties. It is shockingly capable off-road, barring sand, and I love that motor platform. I love that bike. It's shaft drive. There's barely any maintenance. It's easy to change air filters on it. Insane aftermarket. Like, it's just a great motorcycle.
So
But
why do you not own one?
because I'm moving to California, where lane splitting is legal, hallelujah. It's a big bike.
So
it's very wide.
I realize this is the second time since knowing you. I'm about to say this, but fuck you. Yeah.
Only the second time?
Yeah, the first time was when you went to the Isle of Man.
It only
Which is
counts as
fair,
one
yeah.
time if it's a fuck you for the same reason.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
probably said it multiple times,
But
but
it
Oh
was
it's
yeah,
all
I
same
said it a
thing.
bunch of times.
About the
like
same thing.
editing
Yeah.
the video, it was just fuck this guy.
yeah, we just got technicalities.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, the GS is a little bit wide for splitting
Right.
traffic, but it's nice because I can carry all my photo gear on it because I wasn't planning on taking a
True.
car.
Right.
It's also horrific in the sand. It weighs 600 pounds unloaded. It is an absolute monster. And it's just like, I was like, this is not, and I don't, the tail lever front end, I love it on road. It's really cool if you're, in terms of like trail braking and the feedback it gives or lack thereof. But it's insane. Like it makes that bike ride. Even mine was a 2014 Magic Carpet Ride is the closest thing I can come to describe the semi-active and active damping systems on
Yeah.
the previous gen and the current gen GSs.
Noted.
It is the most unbelievable thing. They're easy to ride.
Why
The
have I
CG is
not ridden
low.
one?
You have to. You'll be so
kinda-
pissed off because
this
all the
is-
hype is true.
So this is what I'm worried about.
You're just never gonna
I
kill
have-
him because now you just keep giving him other
I
bikes that he needs
I
to
have
look
spent
at.
so many episodes of this show talking about like, oh, this is the next ADV bike, and I'm like
Yeah.
an ADD kid with toys, and then I finally get to the point I'm like, I think I figured it out.
Yeah.
And then something happens, somebody says something something comes out, and I'm like,
Nope,
well,
that
that
one-
fucks everything.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, the GS would be at the time the three bikes I had were the Duke 790, which was my track bike after the Ninja. I
A
had,
Duke 790 for a track bike.
Oh yeah, I bought it from a guy who had club raced it and hated it, and then sold it to this woman who was way too light for it. And the guy who club raced it had no idea how to do suspension, so she was like, it's too stiff for me, and I was like, I only weigh 150 pounds. How
Right.
big was the guy? And she was like 230 pounds, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to change the springs.
Right.
But because it was a race bike, full Öhlins front and rear, full full aero race exhaust, so decatted and tuned. RCS 19 master cylinder. This thing was spec.
Bro,
it was
going.
It was so cool.
Glad to know you lived through that.
Yeah. So, and it had every Christmas tree on the dash, totally lit up. And I was like, I bet I can get a great deal for this. Had 400 miles on it. So I was like, she had it listed for 10 or 9. Brand new. They were 12.3 at the time or something. It was a 2019.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet she's tried to sell this for a while. And I was researching these issues she had told me the bike was having.
Right.
I found her forum posts about that bike.
That's fucking hilarious.
And she had been trying to fix this and sell this bike for months.
Oh, so
And
was
she had already
desperate.
replaced it with an R3. She was getting really good at the track stuff. Insane rider. Really wonderful woman, truly. So I was like, tell you what, I'll give you $7,000 for it. Because I didn't have the money. I was not in the market to buy another motorcycle, but I was like, this is how much I have in savings.
Yeah.
And if it's a good enough deal, I could at least flip it or do it or enjoy it for a little bit. She said, okay. I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta go.
It worked. I didn't
I'll be
plan
back
this far.
tomorrow, I guess. So I went to the bank, got the money. And sure enough, that thing was stiff as a board.
Really?
I could barely use any travel. I got it home and I start going to set up the suspension. That's a big obsession of mine is suspension dynamics. And compression, all the way wound in. Rebound, all the way wound in.
So somebody was over here just...
All the way wound. This guy who rode it before her, because I pulled the forks apart. The spring rate was the 150-pound spring rate.
Nice.
It was sprung from me. This guy
So
was
he
too
hard-
lazy
he
or too dumb.
hardtailed his-
Yeah.
Yeah, too lazy or too dumb to put the right springs in it, so he just maxed everything out and thought that was, and that's why he probably hated the motorcycle. So
That's fascinating.
yeah, so super sorry about that tangent. But yeah, so I had that. I had a Scrambler 1200 XC,
Right.
and I had the GS.
So did you have the Scrambler at DGR this
I
year?
just
That's that
got
one?
it, yeah, because I was trying to sell you on getting one.
You sure
And I
were.
was thinking about selling
You
mine. And
son
I was
of a-
like, I bet
you
this
were
bitch
actually
would
one
buy
of the
mine.
reasons I was having a problem because I was like, now the Scrambler, and the Scrambler still comes back up.
Yeah,
I see an
it's a
Instagram
great-
post
it's a
of a
great
Scrambler, and I'm
motorcycle.
like,
Our
bro,
buddy,
I
our
would
buddy
want.
Rockhouse Moto. He was
I'd
out-
wanna take
out
photos
on
of
the,
that every day.
Triumph Appreciation Round. There
Oh
was
yeah,
like
the
a couple
little,
of-
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's got
got
that
a
like
sick
baby
one.
blue looking one, right?
Yeah, with the ammo can on the
Yeah.
on the left
Super
side.
nice dude. Rides the hell out of that bike off road.
Can't talk about
Anyways,
Scramblers.
So is it now a world where you like there is no riding without dirt in your life?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I got bit by the bug hard in Mojave, and then as a send, I knew I was going to sell the GS regardless before I went to California. So as a
Like
final
what?
send off, so I'll be honest, I had such a good time at ADV Fest in Mojave, and this is not a plug. I did not work for Revzilla when I went to this. I paid for this full price with my own money. I got drunk the first night and bought tickets for ADV Fest in South Dakota. I think I
Nice.
was like the 8th person to buy tickets. They
Nice.
just opened up sales for it. And so I was like, well, flying to Mojave was a pain in the ass. Like renting a bike, bringing all my gear, bringing all my camping gear. I had to bring a huge OGO bag with my off-road boots, like my off-road gear, everything. It sucked. So I was like, I'm riding to South Dakota.
Yeah.
So I rode the GS from Atlanta to Chicago to South Dakota, 4 days off-road at ADV Fest, learned a lot on that bike, had a lot of fun with it. You guys did that same Welcome to Wyoming route that I did on a different day.
Yeah.
I was keeping up with Pat McHugh on that, doing 40 miles an hour through those sweepers, just
Yeah.
the bike swaying through those. And this is like 2-3 inch deep gravel. This is not fun stuff to ride on.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is such a cool bike. I can't believe. And then the flowy double track in there, I'm jumping it. It's having fun.
Yep.
I was like, this is cool. And then I rode down to Denver, saw some friends, rode down to Colorado Springs, spent 2 days riding off-road. Colorado Springs has amazing, really easy, like
I saw that one
trails.
I saw that one trail where you were pretty much at the peak of something. You had
Oh
you
yeah.
had a post.
So it's called Gold Camp Road.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite roads in Colorado.
Yeah.
And you can take Gold Camp from Colorado Springs all the way up to Cripple Creek, Colorado, which is one of my favorite towns. Have great food. There's a cool historical like mine train sort of thing. And then if you take the road from Cripple Creek back into Colorado Springs, one of the best twisty roads I've ever ridden in my entire life.
Nice.
I've made a point to ride it every year, whether it was on a trip or
you
not.
like peak. I knew
Dude,
you
I'm
were
already I'm sold on Colorado after the
Dude,
Ducati
it's-
Desert
I will
X
send you
launch.
some routes. It's
Bro,
incredible.
I
Um,
almost died. But
So yeah, I was
C2
like,
Dub headquarters 2023.
right.
Colorado is an amazing place.
There you
That's
go.
all I'm saying.
And so I found out on that trip, I learned a lot on the GS, and I was like, man, I really love riding off road. I want to do more of this. The priority is to get something that's maybe not quite a full-on dual sport because I still like doing the travel thing.
Right.
But moving to California, everywhere I want to ride is within 2 to 4 hours for the most part of where I live.
That's amazing.
So, if
And there's
I-
so much out there.
Oh
too.
my God. Well, and so I look at the GS. The GS is a 90-10 bike, and that trip was a perfect representation. I think I had so much fun on that trip because I didn't push it in any two regard. I did 3,800 miles on road and about 300 miles off road.
Yeah.
90-10.
Yeah.
The bike was happy in both. I didn't exhaust its ability or mine off road, and I toured like a motherfucker.
right.
In California, that ratio is going to be more like 60-40 on road to off road.
Where at in California? Like
So I'm going to be in the LA area.
you're in LA. So
Yeah.
you can hop skip. You're gonna be right there.
Oh yeah, within a day of everything. So
Yeah.
Mojave's in my backyard. I rode from Venice Beach to Mojave when I did the ADV Fest because I picked up my bike in Venice Beach. I think it was 2-hour drive,
So
2-hour ride.
My favorite part about the West, and one of the reasons that I'm so jealous is that, well, we were talking about this with a couple people, and when we were at Get On ADV Fest in South Dakota, and I was like, the East it's old U.S. It's had time to settle. So, like, if you go up the Mabder, there's a lot of stuff up there that's simple paved roads.
Yeah.
Even in the most remote of places. And it's because we've just been here longer. And there's a line. You can see it from space. If you look at satellite images of the United States, at night, there's this harsh line where the population density spreads way out.
Really? That's pretty cool.
And you can look at it on topographical and in just satellite imagery of the United States, where it's like you can see where the frontier basically begins.
Right.
And so when you get out to places like in the Mojave, in Colorado, in like Montana and stuff like
Dakotas,
that,
yeah.
you get these places that haven't had time for like the infrastructure to build up around it. So you still get lots of like abandoned towns and structures that are still standing, and there's nobody. When we were in the Mojave for the Pan Am event, it was 8 hours and I may have seen like one other person.
Yeah, it's
we're
remote.
in a mountain.
It's cool.
And like you have these, so like, and they're fucking everywhere over there. It's like if you want to get somewhere, you can just point and be like, well, I can see it because
Yeah.
there's nothing in between me and it.
Yeah.
I go up this hill and I'm just like looking for 80 miles and I'm like, I'm gonna go that way. And
I mean, that's
you
pretty
can
cool.
just pick your own adventure at that point.
Right.
So that's like the place if you're into
That kind of thing.
that kind of
That's the
thing. Like there's some really cool stuff, and I've been dipping my toe a lot in the southeast, like ADV riding.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool stuff up towards like Blue Ridge
Yeah, Dahlonega in that area.
and things like that. You go up into Tennessee and up into like the not Chattanooga. What's the other side? Anyway, up up.
we all just,
Yeah.
our brains completely
Yeah.
forgot geography.
So
for a
like
second
where the three states meet, basically.
Yeah.
That it's some cool stuff, and there's fucking hundreds of miles of roads up there. But and you know, because you've ridden all over the place, there's a difference between the mountains here and the mountains fucking literally anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because we saw this just editing ADV Bros
Yeah.
episode 2, and I'm like, we go through so many different environments in a span of like 3 miles. And so the most jealous I've ever been is like, oh, that's going to be your fucking backyard. And you get to just be like, hey, cool, I'm going to go that way for a couple of days and I'll see a whole bunch of, I can just go north. Like I'm heading up through Northern California, which is a totally fucking different place.
Oh, yeah.
If I want to and go to the Pacific Northwest. Like
It's I'm stoked.
Utah-
the
Utah
ADV
is right
community in LA is amazing.
yeah, I bet.
So I literally went to
You're in the fucking desert.
I know. Well, so I was in Los Angeles. I went to the bike shed. Amazing place if you guys ever get the chance to go. And it goes for everyone. Incredible place. Really great food. Amazing motorcycle community. They also have a barbershop.
Good.
place.
That's I need to go right now.
There you go. Yeah, that's you could write it off. It's a work trip. Most
take a
expensive
trip.
haircut of my life.
Let's take a trip.
That'd be a
Come
good
visit,
video series.
Yep, visit the California correspondent.
There you go.
Yeah, we have to.
yeah.
But so I went to,
I'll just keep
literally
growing out.
I went to one bike night.
Yeah.
20-person ride, meet at this pizza place in Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Probably 75, 80 people there. Met a bunch of guys on 10RAs and 800 GSs and what have you. Literally, one of those guys texted me today and was like, or yesterday, and was like, "Oh, what are you doing on the 22nd?" I was like, "I'm gonna be out of town, but I'll already be in California." He goes, "Oh, dang, we're doing a big group ADV ride up to Big Bear Lake," and I was like, "I met you for 10
I
minutes."
love that there was a place called Big Bear Lake, and I'm just like, I need.
That was
hope
like
there
my
was-
home.
I want that.
I want to go to Big Bear. All right, so 60/40 is your future look on riding road off road. Because of that, what are you riding now?
So I realized, okay, the best point, and again, this is all relative. I truly think it's because I've never been a like true dirt bike guy. I've ridden dirt bikes a handful of times at off-road parks. I don't love riding dirt bikes because like off-road parks are cool. It's fun to challenge yourself and learn those skills, and it's really important. But there's no like reward of putting in the work to get to the place. I really like the payoff that
Yeah.
ADV riding gives you. So for me, it's really a 50-50 bike. I think realistically, it's a 60/40 on-road to off-road bike.
Right.
I was like, okay, so that means either I'm getting a 10RA 700
Right.
and throwing suspension at it because the suspension is not amazing. And because of my track background and my unhealthy obsession with motorcycle dynamics, I can no longer own anything with non-adjustable suspension.
I hear
If you've not
that.
ridden something without it, don't or do and hate everything else in the future.
make the bad decision so you know.
Yeah, it's crazy what happens when you actually make a motorcycle for you.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, so 10RA plus $2,000 because suspension.
Yeah.
Nice suspension. You can do it for cheaper. Or KTM 890 Adventure R.
Okay.
And I wasn't super sold on the KTM, honestly, because I'd owned a 790 Duke, so same engine platform, slightly different tuning. They bored it out, whatever, yada yada, meet Euro 5. but good luck finding a Tenere.
Yeah.
Or an 890R, honestly.
Yeah.
So
I was shocked that you actually got that.
Me too. So we were up at ADV Fest in South Dakota. I wasn't there with you guys, but you guys were there, and we knew each other. We were hanging out. And I started noticing how many 890 adventures there are. Mm-hmm. And Spurgeon rides one, and Patrick Garvin, who's the host at J&P, also rides one.
Yes.
But all the Rever boys ride Tenere 700, so like Bjorn and those guys.
Yeah.
And they're all really
There's
good.
a clear
They're all
split, but
freaks off road.
Yeah.
I mean, like they had the Tuaregs out in Mojave, and they were hitting kickers and whipping doubles on adventure bikes. Like they're amazing off road.
No thanks.
So I was like, okay, if it's good enough for these guys,
yeah, I should be okay.
this should be more capable than I ever will be.
Right.
And so it basically came down to what was in stock. And I looked in the dealership in Marietta that I went to. I looked on their website on a Sunday. It said they had 3 890Rs in stock. And I didn't want the S. I wanted the R. I wanted the Apex suspension, not the whatever it is, the stock model suspension, which is nice for road, not great off road.
The WP is.
So I called Monday because dealerships are all closed Sunday because the Lord doesn't want you to sell motorcycles apparently. And I said, "Do you really have?" It says on your website you have 3 in stock. I called them at 9:15. They open at 9.
I like how you're like, do you really have this?
Fucking lying to me?
Right, because it's the demand for off-road and dual sport and ADV motorcycles has been unprecedented in the last 2 years. You could talk to any dealership. I got to see sales numbers at Revzilla that reflected that. Like we couldn't keep off-road stuff in stock.
Right.
And so I called
me,
him,
you know.
and I was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, do you really have 3 890 Adventure Rs in stock? And he said 2 have sold. And I was like, when? He goes, about 4 minutes ago. 15 minutes after the dealership opened on Monday. They got delivered on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he said, I was like, do you actually have the one left? He's like, I think it's being PDI'd right now. I will go double check. So he goes, he double checks. Yes, we have it. It is not spoken for. Oh, shoot. But what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I was going to sell the GS so I could buy that bike because the GS I ended up selling it for $12,900 or something. So it wasn't far off from the KTM. And I was like, perfect. I'll sell that and spend a little bit of money. And so he was like, yeah, he's like, this is the first shipment of these we've got in 4 or 5 months that haven't sold before they got here.
Right.
Because they've all been pre-orders. And so I was like, like, I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you guys offer no penalty for early payoff for financing? And they're like, nope. I mean, like, yes, you can pay it off. And I was like, sweet, what's a deposit? So I put down $1,000 on the phone. And I picked it up the next day. And then I paid it off after I sold the GS.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I own it now, which is great. But that's how I ended up with it. It was in stock. They wouldn't let me test ride it. I went to the dealership and saw it before I put down the $1,000.
And there was no first ride for one because we can't.
That's true.
Get on one.
My sole source for anything motorcycle related had not
Thanks,
helped.
Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so I bought it on the spot and I rode it home and I knew immediately on the ride home and I was like, oh, this thing is outrageously quick for what it is.
Yeah.
For an adventure bike, for a mid-size adventure bike.
Right.
And then 2 days later, I took it to an off-road park and absolutely I'm a novice off-road rider. Like I'm comfortable saying that. I like Right. I like Forest Service roads. If I'm with friends, I will do some twin track, like Jeep road stuff. I don't mind some obstacles. I went to a full-blown off-road park and was jumping this thing and dropping it in mud puddles that were like 4.5 feet deep. Like I swamped this thing. Aaron takes under the seat, thankfully, so it was above it.
Nice.
But I mean, like I railed this thing off-road with no preload and no compression, and I could not get it to bottom out.
Nice.
I was
Holy
jumping this
shit.
motorcycle. To be fair, I'm a svelte guy. I get it.
It's not a small bike, though.
No,
Like,
it is it's 455 pounds wet.
I'm familiar with how big it is now.
Yeah.
It's a freaking weird feeling. I was just watching the footage from it when we took it on that my Tiger on the appreciation ride for Triumph. There was one section where we were doing those two because you know the route.
Yeah.
So there's a section that's like that the 2-track. It's dirt bike. It's not. It's,
Yeah, it'd be easy on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
It's intermediate on an adventure
And
bike.
I am not intermediate by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
So I'm full sending it, and then they have these little swoopy boys.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I get a little swoop, and I was like, okay, I feel okay.
I would
feel
say
okay.
that track is slightly, I mean, on average, about the same as a lot of the twin track stuff I saw you doing on the Ducati Desert X launch. but a little bit elevated in some spots. Like,
Yeah.
but it had more obstacles.
So the swoopy boys, right? There's
Whoops.
like, yeah, the little whoops. And the first one I was like, okay, it felt good. Second
Yeah.
one I was like, all right, I'm comfortable. The third one I go, whoom, and I just launched off of it. And I weigh about 210 pounds.
Yeah.
Depending on what I eat for lunch. And
Good. I hope you're not eating a 10-pound lunch. Oh, wait, to be fair, it does just fill up your legs. You
that's how I've
Gumby
got so
motherfucker.
much space in there. It's just intestines. I have mine set up all preload in the front, no preload in the back,
Right.
and nothing.
Which makes sense. The Triumphs are typically undersprung
Yeah.
in the front and oversprung in the back.
nothing. And it's a weird feeling because I expected because those springs again are probably
Yeah.
like the 150 pound.
Yeah, they're meant for someone 155, 160. But
Yeah.
I will say the KTM's interesting because it is actually, if you do the math, like
Yeah.
the SAG numbers, the KTM in the front at least is actually sprung for someone 170 to 185 pounds.
Interesting.
So it's oversprung for me.
Yeah, but
But-
mine is undersprung for me.
Yeah, right.
And even then, it was just like I expected to hear the chunk and that
Right.
click from behind. Nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Man,
It's
it
a
would be-
fucking cool feeling.
Modern
cool to have
adventure
an
bikes
ADV
have
bike.
gotten so
Yeah.
good.
That bike is that bike is the only reason that I have not wrecked it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly how I felt with the Desert X. I was like, I don't belong here. I don't know how to ride this
Yeah.
shit. Everybody else is fast.
Like when I dumped it in the river, I was like, yeah,
Oops.
of course,
Right,
because
yeah.
I'm doing this.
So we've only got 5 minutes left, and we haven't really
answered 2
We
questions.
haven't really talked about Joe's
What you're doing.
like big trip.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing we're here for.
Just
So, to be fair, I told Joe when he got here, you read through all the questions. I'm like, I just want you to know, Joe, it's very conversational. We probably ain't gonna make it.
I'm pretty sure we all have AD. The three of us have ADD.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I actually, I'm my medicine's wearing
Diagnosed?
off as we speak.
Diagnosed. Yeah.
Doctor
So
said.
when we on Tuesday, the video we shot with Joe is, and I'll let Joe talk about it, what it is, why it is in 4 minutes. We were shooting all the intro for this really cool video that we're gonna do. Joe's been cool enough to take all of us along with this trip. So Joe, spend the last time we have here. What is the trip? Why are you doing it? And give us some, like, prep people up for the video that will inevitably come at some point.
So, after 10 years of wanting to do this, I am finally moving to Southern California, Los Angeles specifically. But I am not taking a plane. I am not taking a train. I am not taking a car. I am taking my KTM 890 Adventure R. I am fitting my entire life onto that motorcycle, or at least what will help me survive for the first 3 months until I can come home and say hi to everyone for Thanksgiving and get dumb things that you shouldn't move ever. So, in doing so,
on the back of the bike.
yeah, no couches are going on the bike.
Oh, what about that piano?
Piano? Absolutely not. I moved that piano into that house. What a nightmare.
That piano will never leave that.
No,
So
it's-
it is.
it's living there.
A set of side bags, a
Yes.
duffel.
So it is 2
and a
panniers,
tank bag.
a duffel bag, and a tank bag. No extra crap slung to the outside. I wanted to keep it fit and tidy because on the way I'm going to be doing on roads, so I'll be doing back roads like I like to do. I'll be doing a little bit of interstate touring. I'm going to be doing dirt roads outside of Birmingham, so I'll do some Forest Service roads there. I'm doing dirt roads outside of Arkansas, and if my timing is good, I will try and run through Mojave and do some desert stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted something that was going to allow me to move on the
Careful
bike
out
still.
there. They got double flooded.
Yeah.
Their roads are fucked.
Real messed up. So who knows if Mojave is happening? But Arkansas, yes.
Yeah.
Birmingham, yes.
Cool.
But yeah, so essentially, I am taking you guys along with how I decided what to bring, what I am bringing, and how to get it to all fit on a motorcycle.
Yep.
Because I normally, when I go adventure touring, I bring about 11 pounds worth of things, and I'm hoteling it. I've done the camping thing, long distance touring. I'm fucking over it.
Doing the camping thing this
I'm a Boy
weekend.
Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've literally hundreds of nights in the woods camping. I like camping. I'm a glamper now.
I am the opposite. I am already to. You're to my point.
No,
now,
he's
Joe.
There we
4
go.
hours from home. That's his.
Yeah.
That was his name in
It's
high
a
school.
thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's the trip. I'm packing my life on a motorcycle, riding west, and taking you guys along, and showing
So,
you.
just to be clear, like he's going out there and filming it and then sending that footage back to us.
I'm mailing cameras.
You're
And
getting the
even
whole
coming back.
You're getting the whole thing, not just like Joe's leaving. You're getting the whole fucking thing.
So the
Yeah.
way we kind of have decided to do it is obviously all of our production stuff is here. We have the camera car here. We have all the filming gear here. So we basically just shot a really fucking cool intro to the whole video.
I've seen 3 seconds of it, and I'm so excited to see it.
So we've really overproduced the intro, and then I think it's a beautiful way to do the video is like Joe grabbed a 360 camera here and a GoPro, and he's off. And the whole journey
the second time we send somebody off with just like fucking go for it. I think that's interesting because I think in the spirit of Adventure Bros, like it is the whole journey. I'm excited to get this footage into the shop because like when I consume content for any motorcycle content, the ones I gravitate to are the ones that people are going out there and doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what that trip looks like through the eyes of not only just somebody who lives life in the moment of like, I want to do a thing, I'm going to make it happen, but also through the eyes of somebody who professionally understands like
the way to film those things in a way that is
those two
relatable.
things are incongruous with each other. It's like I'm experiencing this but like you understand. You're like one of the few people that we've had in the shop that like we can go, hey, this is. Well, we don't have to tell you anything. We sent you to
Isle of Man was here's some camera equipment.
You know what to fucking do,
yeah.
and that's a cool experience for me because it's like I get the best part of like experiencing that,
right?
But also like when I put it together, it's not like well, fucking. Okay.
Well, there's also a certain, I feel like realness that it'll bring to a video to be, and you'll have your photo gear, so like you'll be able to get some like additional shots, but like. We live in a channel where like everything is produced at a really high level, and you do have to come out of what you're doing and focus on the job at hand. I do think there's a lot of value in bare bones. Like I'm going to take enough to really capture myself in the element and not let it like that's why we overproduce the front, which is where
set the stage, set the stakes.
Yeah, so, but then, like, the actual journey of it's like cameras aren't slowing you down. They're not fucking with you, and, like, the battery's dead.
I'm legitimately excited about getting the footage back and putting it together.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked to send that to you, and I'm stoked to see what you guys shot.
So when do you leave?
I leave tomorrow. So, right after this, and I mean literally in minutes, I'm going to, you guys can come if you're in Georgia. I'm going to Steady Hand Brewing in Midtown Atlanta. We're staying until 9 o'clock. It is the official Peace Out Joe bike night. All my friends are sending me off. They're going to kind of feel dumb because it starts at 6 and I'm not going to be there till 7.
You're literally live.
But I'm live right now. I did tell them I was not going to be there till 7. Steady Hand Brewing, bring your bike, bring your car. We could care less. It's a great time. If it's your first bike night, if you can find a guy named Trip, he will buy your first beer for free. We don't recommend you drink more than one beer because drinking and riding does not mix.
Right.
Here.
But yeah, so I'm literally going to bike night tomorrow morning. I leave bright and early. I head out to Birmingham. I'll be attending Barber Vintage Motorcycle Festival on Saturday. And then Sunday I head to Arkansas. After Arkansas, I have no plan. I just know when I need to be in California.
You have a direction.
Right, I know when I need to be there.
No GPS, just a compass.
Right, exactly.
Old school.
I'll just wait for the sun to rise and go that away.
Yeah, compasses are, you can't.
But yeah, because I don't, if there's any advice I have for anyone who wants to do long distance, like more than 3 days, like I'm talking like coast to coast, big trips, have your point A, your point B when you need to be at point B, and when you need to be back at point A if it's a round trip, because they usually are.
Yeah. Right.
Otherwise, the easiest thing to do is to overplan. On 2017, we all researched and did our own thing, and every day we woke up and had to cut 6 things we couldn't do. Not enough time. We're too tired.
Thing up in South Dakota.
So what we did the second half of that trip, which has been the way I view vacation and adventure riding and everything now, is plan one thing per day. Anything else that happens is a bonus. So then you wake up, every day is always more than you bargained for. So it's great.
Focus. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is the plan. It's based on weather. It's based on all that. It's how I feel.
Right.
How's the shots looking? But yeah, that's the end all be all, I guess.
So
I'm excited, but also fuck you.
I assume you will be posting updates on your Instagram.
Yes, I will be posting daily on Instagram.
If you guys, if you go to my screen,
FOQ.
we've got Joe's Instagram. If you guys want to follow him across the freaking country, you can go there. I can't wait.
Yeah, and if you want to see a sneak peek of the video that's coming out in a few weeks of what I just did with Moto America, if you see that third shot, what looks like 2 bobbleheads on a motorcycle,
that is 2 bobbleheads on a motorcycle.
Getting the shit scared out of me doing a 2-up lap on a 1000cc Gixxer that is fully Moto America class prepped. it is bonkers in a way of in-helmet audio, and it's as funny as you
We've
would
all
think.
seen little clips of it, and it's hilarious. Joe, I feel like I talked to you for all day.
Yeah,
so
we
I
only have.
appreciate. We honestly
literally have.
I appreciate you coming by. I know your schedule is kind of crazy, and fitting our little live on two wheels thing in. Good luck on the trip.
Thank you so much. And
I can't wait to watch it.
baby quick shout out to Haley Arnold at Revit and Juniel Park at Revit.
Both those people
for
are dope.
amazing people. They've really helped make this trip a possibility.
Yep.
So I just wanted to give them a specific shout out. So
Yeah, for sure.
They've been saving my feet and my shins for the last.
there you
2 months.
go.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for this week's episode. We will get to the memes next week because we are already
I'm so
over
sorry.
time.
I will also figure out how Discord works and go look back through them and react accordingly.
All right, guys, you guys ride safe. Have a good weekend. And next
And fuck
week,
Joe
we're
Jackson.
talking about, go follow Joe. Next week,
Not
we're
what
talking
I
about
said.
the Honda CB750 thing.
The KTM 790 Duke.
CB.
Isn't that what CB750?
The Hornet?
Yeah, Hornet.
Not a C. Who knows?
I'm
I
excited.
don't know what they call it.
All right, guys, see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Excuse me. Thank you. Good God. I'm
me.
about to say.
You said excuse me before the fart.
That's about
I love
to
that.
fucking say. All right, run that outro.